Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Adventures of Chuck Stone, Part 4. This will be a summary, because the actual footage, webcam footage, got corrupted and overwritten. So, without further ado, Chuck Stone went outside and found zombies, to throw things at, attempting to master the way of throwing things. And he did so quite successfully. He nearly stepped into a minefield that he had discovered in the previous episode, but what he had discovered was that the minefield was in fact a bit larger than he had previously thought, or previously imagined, so he labeled it on the map and got the heck out of there, grateful to be still walking on two legs that are uninjured. He used those very legs to walk the long road home, and eventually got a good night's sleep and a very good meal. He was quite satisfied with the deluxe scrambled eggs and vitamins and aspirin that he found in the previous episode, so he decided to go home. He then threw things at various parts of nature. He threw skewers at the dragonfly, and he threw skewers at a bullfrog, claiming that they both are Master Dragonfly and Master Bullfrog. Come to teach me the master course of the way of throwing. And he did indeed complete the master course of the way of the bullfrog. And, but he did fail the master course of butchering a bullfrog. He then threw things at this dog. He went from a frog to a dog. And he was throwing skewers once again, but he decided to up his game to a heavy stick and eventually spikes when the dog was about to maul him. So, he was not quite ready to master the way of the dog. Still, he got a lot of valuable experience out of it, and then, when attempting to butcher the dead dog, suddenly he was accosted by a cougar. And this was quite an amazing and surprising turn of events. He had to take this very seriously. So he threw a steak knife and wounded it so grievously that the cougar immediately changed direction and started fleeing. It is worth mentioning that Chuck Stone is an animal antagonist, and so the animals will attack him more than they would usually if you were a typical character in this game, but Chuck Stone prefers things that way because he was then able to scavenge food from a cougar corpse as well. Yes, and you can see the meat that he received there, along with some stomach flesh. In any case, then he spotted a giant web spider, and he thought, now I get to learn the way of the spider. This must be the most advanced throwing technique of all, for it requires you to throw like you have 8 arms or legs, 8 appendages. It's like you can throw. You can throw like you have 2 arms, and the stability of 2 legs, or I don't know. He threw things at a spider. Okay, I don't really have dialogue prepared for this, but in any case, he spiked the spider and walked into its web slightly and aggravated it, and then backed off. But he did not actually. He walked into the webbed area, but not actually into the web of the spider. He then butchered the spider after a successful battle. He did not get poisoned or even bit by the spider since his armor protected him. He cooked the spider, and Chuck Stone found the spider to be quite delicious, in fact. Then Chuck Stone began making spikes from a car when he discovered Master Carp had once again come to teach him the way of the carp. Truly one of the greatest styles of throwing, the way of the giant carp. So he immediately started studying and praising the Fishmaster by throwing skewers at him. After the Fishmaster left, he carefully gathered the skewers and then manufactured a bunch of spikes. He then walked back to the mansion and threw some skewers at some fungal zombies, learning the way of the fungal zombie. However, the way of the fungus had a giant downside of making your life... Chuck Stone found it very difficult to regather his thrown projectiles when learning the way of the fungus. But he did destroy some of the fungus, and he got away without being infected. And although he does have some antifungal medicine, he does not want to try to use it. So anyways, he threw things at some zombies, and eventually he went home. Or I think he explored some more of the mansion, gathered some supplies, and went home. I think he got a good rest. Yeah, he cooked some food, he got some good rest, and then that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching episode 4 of The Adventures of Chuck Stone. Good night.